One of the things we get asked a lot about is, what's a good tool to use when I'm trying to teach hybrid? One of the problems that comes up is we're trying to teach to kids who are in class and kids who are at home at the same time. Many of you already know how to share your screen and do those kinds of things, but once the kids at home and in class can see my screen, how do I teach? So a tool we're going to talk about today is called myViewBoard whiteboard. It's a free tool for you to use. And so we're going to go through how to sign up, get it downloaded, and some basics to start using it, including ways to engage kids who are not physically in class. So what we're going to want to do first is open a web browser and head to myviewboard.com. In the top right corner, you're going to see that there's a sign up link. Again, this is free and you can click on that. You'll notice that you can sign up with Google, Microsoft, Apple, or if you just want to sign up with a different kind of email, you can do that at the bottom. I'm going to go ahead and sign in because I already have an account. And I'm going to sign in using my Google account today. Again, it doesn't matter which one you use, any of these will work. When you first sign in, you're probably going to get a couple prompts. For example, if you sign in with Google, it's going to ask if you want to connect your Google Drive. Go ahead and connect your Google Drive. If you sign in with Microsoft, it might ask you to connect your OneDrive. Go ahead and connect your OneDrive. After you connect your cloud storage, there will be a few questions that you're going to want to answer, kind of like, are you a teacher? What do you teach? Just fill that out, and then it will take you to this screen where it'll say welcome and your name. Now, our account isn't entirely set up yet, so there's one more thing that we need to do. That's head over here to the right. You'll notice that there's a section that says My ViewBoard Name and a section that says Sign In Email. We're going to click on the circle or icon that's right next to that, not the globe, the icon to the left of the globe, and we're going to choose Edit Account. Here you can choose an avatar for your account if you would like, but the most important thing is that we scroll down and we change this part here where it says My ViewBoard Name. We'll talk later about why this is important, but trust me, you're going to want to change this. By default, it'll probably just be your email. So change it to something that's unique. It does have to be unique to you because two teachers can't have the same ID. If you try to take an ID that's already been used, you'll get a notification at the bottom that you need to change it. Once you choose a new myViewBoard name, make sure you click the red Confirm button to save and update all your settings. That's it. Our account is totally set up and we're ready to move on to the next part. What we need to do now is we need to download the whiteboard tool for our computer. The way that you download the whiteboard tool is you find the download icon. It looks like an arrow that's pointing down. We're going to click on that and it's going to open up this window here. Now there's lots of different programs that ViewSonic makes that you can download. But again, we're going to be focusing on whiteboard today. You'll see whiteboard is up here in the top left corner, and then there's three icons below it. This is for Windows, Android, and if you have a Chromebook, you can download whiteboard. We're going to be downloading Windows today, so you can get started with that, but the process is similar if you're using Android or Chromebook as well. So we're going to click the Windows icon. And what this is going to do is it's going to download an MSI file for us. So this is kind of a big file. It's a couple hundred megabytes, so just be aware it might take a minute for it to download. Once it's finished downloading, we're going to go ahead and open this link. And we're just going to follow the installer prompts as it installs this to my computer. So we'll click Next. We'll click the Install button. Now, this part's important because if your school computer is managed by your district and you don't have permission to make changes to your computer, maybe you need a password, this part will get blocked. All right, so you might have to reach out to your IT department and get a support ticket to have whiteboard installed to your computer. If you don't need that, go ahead and follow the prompts and this will begin the install of the software. This usually goes pretty fast, but again, it can take a minute just to get all the files copied and pushed onto the computer. It also might ask to install C++ and some other files just to make sure the software runs correctly. Now what we're going to do is finish the install. Now whiteboard is installed on our device, and let's open it. We don't need our browser anymore for a minute, so I'm just going to minimize it. And you'll see here on my desktop, whiteboard's been installed. If you don't see whiteboard on your desktop, it just might be in the ViewSonic folder. So we'll go to our start menu. We're going to scroll down to the V section, V for ViewSonic, and you'll see the folder there. And then of course you can see whiteboard is right there. Now we're going to open whiteboard. Just give it a double click here. You'll notice that the first time you run whiteboard, you're going to get an activate this software. This is really important that you activate the software or all the features won't be ready to use. So we are going to click that blue activate button. It's going to open up this screen where it's going to ask you to type in your email. This is important that you type it correctly because an email is going to be sent to that address, allowing you to activate the software. So I'm going to go ahead and type in my email here. Now that I have my email all typed in, again, make sure it's typed in correctly and also that the emails match. We're going to click the submit button. Give it a second to work. You're going to get this notification that says the software has been registered and activated, or we need to go check our email just to make sure. Remember, the way that you do that is you just head to your browser and you're going to go to your email and see if you get an email from myViewBoard. I don't have one, so my software has already been activated. So we're going to go back to whiteboard, and you'll see here I'm not getting an activation notification, which means my software is ready to go. But that is important that you follow those steps to make sure that whiteboard is installed and activated and ready for us to use. The first time that you launch whiteboard, you're going to get this screen here. This is just a welcome screen, a setup screen. You're not going to see it again, but it just gives you a little overview of what you're looking at. For example, it shows you here's your pen tool down here, import content, how to add a new page, sign in, etc. But before we get into all that and how to use whiteboard, we need to learn how to sign in to the software. The reason why we want to sign in is for two things. One, it's going to allow us to connect to our cloud storage and bring in our content. But it's also going to allow us to collaborate with our students who may not be in class. And the way that we do that is we sign in. One way that we can sign in is we can use an app called the myViewBoard companion app. So this little section over here just shows you that you can download an app for iOS or for Android. These are QR codes so you can scan that and then find the myViewBoard companion app in your app store. Or you can just search for the app in your app store. Go ahead and install it and then sign in. I already have the companion app installed on my phone. It's going to look like this. So when you're signed in, this is the home screen. And here, down kind of towards the bottom, you're going to see a QR code icon. This is what allows us to sign in. So if you remember from that first page, there's an arrow that says the circle icon is where you sign in. You can see our circle icon down here on the bottom right corner. So if I click on that or touch it, what it's going to allow me to do is it's going to let me open the sign-in window. So you see there I can toggle it on or off just by simply pressing that icon. Notice that there's a QR code right there. The QR code is what I use in my companion app to scan and sign in. So I touch the QR code button on my app and you'll see here it's turned on my camera. Now I can walk over and scan this QR code and it's going to sign me into the software. The way that you know you're signed in is one, if you changed your avatar, you should see your avatar icon down here in the bottom right corner. But an easier way to tell is that if you look here in the top left corner, you can see my name. Remember when we went to myviewboard.com and set up our account, we changed our myViewBoard name. That's that unique name that you chose. When you sign in, that name should show up in the top left corner. If you don't see your name or your email, then you're not signed in. Remember, go to the circle in the bottom right corner and click on it or touch it. That will open the sign-in window, allowing you access to the software. Now that we're signed in, what we want to do is bring in our content. Remember, I said when you sign in, it's going to connect to your cloud storage. So if you look over here on the left, this is your main toolbar. Now your main toolbar might be on the bottom or it might be on the right. You can place it wherever you would like to. What we're going to focus on is how to import. So you're going to see this icon that looks like a box, cardboard box. Some people think it looks like a shipping box, right? If you do a lot of shopping and you get lots of boxes on your porch. It's got blue icons inside of it. This is your import tool. We call it the magic box. If you click on it, you're going to see this window that has lots of different icons. We're not going to talk about those today. We're just going to focus on the basics. You'll notice that one of the icons is my Google Drive. Remember, I signed in with Google, so that's why my Google Drive's connected. If you signed in with Microsoft, you'll also see OneDrive. So whatever your cloud storage is, you can access it directly from the magic box. So now what I want to do is bring in a lesson, something that I can teach. So I'm going to go into my drive and I'm going to go into my lessons folder here. And what I'm going to choose here is I'm going to choose my multiplying fractions lesson. And what the magic box is going to do is it's going to download that presentation from my cloud storage and then import it into Whiteboard. Now, you might be wondering, why would I want to import it into Whiteboard instead of just opening it normally through my browser? And the reason is because when you import something into Whiteboard and we want to write on it, it's super simple. So over here in our main toolbar, you'll see this icon I've been using here. This is the pen tool. Okay, the pen tool is what lets me write. I can also highlight with the pen tool. And so now if I'm trying to call out important information for my students who are at home and my students in class, I can write on top of this slide. So it's really important, for example, in this lesson that we know that Ted runs 4/5 mile. It's also important that we know that his teacher ran 6 times that. And by using a simple tool like writing an annotation, I'm able to draw attention to what's important in this particular part of the lesson. Beneficial for my kids in class and beneficial for my kids at home. And remember, all the kids at home can see it because I'm sharing my screen with the students who are at home. There are other myViewBoard tools that we can utilize when teaching. We recommend that you go check out our YouTube channel. There's lots of videos showing you how to use more advanced myViewBoard tools. But as you can see, it's super simple to sign in, import your content with the magic box, and then use the basic annotation tools to write over the top and draw attention to the key concepts of your lesson. But that's not where everything stops. One thing that you'll notice is that this is still fairly direct instruction, right? I'm the teacher, I'm giving the information to the students. How do we get kids more engaged? How do we get kids more involved? For that, we're going to want to explore our myViewBoard portal. Blake is going to be my pretend student. Obviously, this is a training, so I don't have live students with me. So just remember, whenever Blake is interacting and Blake's explaining, think of him as a student and myself as the teacher. So in this lesson, as we just discussed, we're doing multiplication of fractions. Now I've added a few extra things here, some fractions, and modeled this problem. In this webinar, we're not going to talk about how to use those specific tools. However, if you would like to explore the other tools in Whiteboard, there's a really easy way for you to access these. Remember, first install Whiteboard on your computer, then go to the question mark in the top right corner. This question mark is like your help section. And you'll notice there's 2 menus, basic and advanced. If you click on basic for example, you can go in and explore shapes. So there's Shape Tools Basic and Shape Tools Advanced. That will show you how to be able to build some of these things like fractions. So again, go to the question mark and you can watch some videos on how to use these other tools. In order to access our board portal so that students can collaborate or interact with you, we need to show them where to go. So if you remember from earlier, I said in the top left corner, you'll see your board name. Mine says Sharp. We edited that right at the beginning on myviewboard.com. If you click or touch that, it's going to open up this window here. You'll see at the top it says myviewboard.com/sharp. This is my board portal. If you changed your board name, yours will be myviewboard.com/ whatever you changed your board name to. The QR code here is the same URL that's displayed on the top. So you can scan the QR code or just type this in. Also, students can bookmark this if they access your portal a lot. Let's turn it over to Blake for a second. Blake's going to talk about how to get inside into the portal.
Thanks, Mr. Sharp. The first thing we're going to do is open up a browser. In this scenario, we have a Chrome browser open. We're going to go to myviewboard.com/sharp as displayed on the screen. As soon as the page loads, it's going to ask for our name. You type in your name, click confirm, and now we have a couple different options. As you can see in the top, it says not Blake, which means I can change my name. The other piece is screen sharing. So I can share my screen directly to Mr. Sharp's panel, and he can decide when my screen appears and when my screen disappears. So very much driven from the teacher perspective. Another option that's available is called Pop Quiz. We're going to dig into that here in a moment. Poll Quiz is another option that students have as a way to engage with the lesson or the software itself. And then finally, you have the upload, or what we call throw, which allows me as the student to throw pictures directly to Mr. Sharp's whiteboard software.
Cool. Thank you, Blake. So, as Blake mentioned, the first thing that we're going to get started with is Pop Quiz. Pop Quiz is a great way to engage students who are at home or in class. Remember, kids at home can access your portal and kids in class can access your portal. So let's close this window. And what we're going to do is we're going to ask a question verbally. So the question is, how many miles does Ted's teacher run each day? I've already modeled it, and now I want students to send me their ideas, send me their responses. They can do that through what's called a Pop Quiz. Now, Pop Quiz is actually always running in the background. Okay, it's not formal. It's not like where you start and stop it. You tell kids, hey, it's time to go do a Pop Quiz. So if we look over here at Blake's screen, remember Blake is my student, when he clicks on the Pop Quiz icon, this is going to open a new window. This is a whiteboard, digital whiteboard, that he can use to annotate an answer if he has a touch screen. That's what that pin icon is for. Or if he doesn't have a touch device, he can type by clicking on the letter A. So we're going to go ahead and have Blake respond to the question, how many miles does Ted's teacher run? And we're going to see him showing his work here on the Pop Quiz window.
So we're going to use the pen and write out the problem. 4/5 times 6 equals 24/5. And then when you want to submit, you select the little blue button and it will say sending.
Now, that ding that you hear is on the teacher side. That's a notification that I've received a Pop Quiz. There are multiple ways to access the Pop Quiz. First, in the bell icon in the top right, I'll see here that it says Blake has shared his/her sketch. If I click on that, that will open Pop Quiz. The other way that I can access Pop Quiz is through the magic box. So if I click the box in the main toolbar, you'll see this icon with fireworks. It says ABCD. This is the Pop Quiz tool. When I click or touch that, it's going to open the Pop Quiz window. Now you'll notice that there's a space to ask a question, but you don't actually have to utilize that space there. It could be on the slide like I just showed you, like I just demonstrated. My question was actually on the slide. I don't need to write it again. Or I can just ask the question verbally, or I could, if I wanted to, write the question on the top. If I want to hide the question area, down here at the bottom of Pop Quiz on the left, you'll see that there's an icon that has a question mark in it and then a line going through it. If I touch that, you'll see it actually hides the question area so we can actually see part of the canvas. Now, I only have one student in my demo class right now, which is Blake, but I can see his response has populated here. If I have multiple students, their responses will continue to populate across the bottom of the screen. Notice that the responses are hidden. If I want to reveal Blake's answer, I simply touch on his name and it's going to show his sketch work there. Now, if I want to make it bigger, what I have to do is I actually have to do a right-click motion on his answer to make it larger. So if I have a mouse, I can just right-click, but since I'm on a touch display, I just hold it for a couple seconds. And you'll see there that it enlarges his response. This allows us as a whole class to see what Blake submitted, what he sent, but it also allows me as the teacher to maybe push the thinking of my class. So down here, I have different pen colors that I can choose from as the teacher. I'll use blue, so it's not necessarily as harsh. And I can now come to Blake's work, and I can say, oh great, 24/5. Do we agree, disagree? Do one of those kinds of things. But I can also come in here and say, do you agree or disagree that 24/5 is also equal to 4 4/5? So it's just a nice way to interact with students who are physically in class or kids who physically can't be with you. Now, if I want to return back to my full class responses, I just hit the back button down here in the bottom left corner, and it takes me back. And notice that any annotations that I've added are saved on top of Blake's sketch. Now, when I'm done talking about this question, I can move on to another question, and student answers will continue to populate. If, however, I want to save this one session, this one question that I've just asked, I can save it by going to the floppy disk in the bottom right corner. If I click the Save button, it's going to open up my file management window. And you'll notice that I can save to my local storage, or if I have cloud connected to my myViewBoard account, I can choose the cloud. So for example, I can go in here to My Drive, choose a folder that I want to save this in, and down here, I just choose the folder, touch the check mark, and you see now it's uploading all the responses into that particular folder so I can go back and review them later. It just depends on if you want to be able to save the responses, if that's important to you, or if you just want to erase them, it doesn't matter. So again, quick review. I'll have Blake clear out his Pop Quiz window there by using the trash can. I'm going to make another just blank page and give you another example of how you can quickly use Pop Quiz. So this time I'm just going to verbally ask a question. I'm not going to write it. So remember, Pop Quiz is in the magic box, which is in the main toolbar. Find the fireworks icon. This shows all the responses. Now remember, I haven't reset this yet. So in order to reset it, I have to touch the circle icon. It looks like a curved arrow. It'll ask me if I want to save. I've already saved, so I don't need to save again. So I'm just going to choose no. And now you'll see the responses have been cleared. So I'm ready for my next question. This time I'm just going to ask a verbal question. I'm going to say, hey, how's everybody feeling right now about multiplying fractions? So I'm just using this as a quick check for understanding. I'm going to say, draw me an emoji of how you're feeling about multiplying fractions. So then students can go into Pop Quiz like Blake is here, They can draw their emoji, or if they want to type a response, they're more than welcome to. But again, it's just a nice way to engage kids. How are you feeling? Especially when you can't physically see them, can't see their confused face. You can't see their smiley or their sad or angry face. So Blake's responses come in. If you remember from before, all I had to do is touch Blake's response, and then I can see what he's submitted. Again, Pop Quiz is a great way to engage students. Another way that we can have students collaborate and interact is using the Throw tool. The Throw tool allows students to take screenshots or send images to the whiteboard. So what we're going to do is we're going to start with an example of taking a screen capture. So maybe you have students working on a website or web assignment, and you want the students who are physically at home to be able to send an example to you by taking a screenshot. So in this example, I have kids working on IXL, and remember, Blake here is my sample student. So he's already answered the question correctly, and I've asked Blake to share his work with me. So I'll let Blake explain how he's going to send this to me as the teacher.
So I need to take a screenshot of my work. So on a Chromebook, Control-Shift in your window display, which on my keyboard is above the number 5. I get crosshairs to which then I can draw and basically take a screenshot of that portion of the screen. It automatically goes to a file folder. I go to myviewboard.com/sharp, where I already put my name in, the same thing we did for Pop Quiz. I select the upload, and in the downloads, I can see my new screenshot based on time and also a little image of it. I select it, click open, and it's now sending to Mr. Sharp's whiteboard.
So if you remember, when you hear that ding, something's happened. The student might have sent a Pop Quiz Throw screen share request. So there's two ways I can access Throw. One is to go to the bell, and I can see that Blake has sent me a file. This is always nice too, because you can get a little preview to make sure if it's appropriate or not. Or the other way that you can get it is by, again, going to the magic box. Remember, that's the box in the main toolbar. And you'll see a paper airplane icon. The paper airplane icon is our icon for Throw. So when I click on that, it'll open up this folder, and you'll see here my first screenshot that Blake sent me. To add this screenshot to my whiteboard, I just need to click and drag or touch and drag to add it to my canvas. You can see here his screenshot has appeared. I can move it over to the side, and then I could annotate over the top of it and say, do we agree, disagree with what Blake has done? Again, this is an easy way to have students share their work who are at home and not physically in class. We're all used to being able to walk around and see students' screens, see what they're working on. So a habit you can get in is kids who are at home or not physically with you, just say, hey, this is screenshot time. Everybody send me a quick screenshot of the problem you're on right now. Now, another use for Throw is that sometimes we have non-digital material that we want to be able to use digitally. So as an example, I have a worksheet here that I've sent home to kids. They've printed it out, and I want them to work on it. But how do I show this to kids first to give them an example? How do I show this so that they're prepared to use it? Potentially you could use a document camera, but we can actually use Throw as a document camera as well. So earlier, we talked about the myViewBoard companion app. The companion app can be installed on your phone, and you can sign in using your Google, Microsoft, or Apple account. On the companion app, when you're signed in, you'll see one of the icons is a paper airplane icon. Remember, paper airplane is for Throw. So if I touch that at the very bottom of my phone, it's going to give me the option to turn on my camera or access my browse, which is just images that I've already taken. I'm going to go ahead and turn on my camera, and you'll see here that it's going to turn my camera on. I'm going to walk over and take a picture of this worksheet. You'll see here on my phone that it gives me a preview. If I touch the check mark, that will add it to my list. And then at the top, you're gonna see where it says host name. Host name just has to match your board name. So remember, our board name is in the top left corner, mine Sharp. So as long as Sharp and board name match, I'm good. Next, I touch the paper airplane in the top right corner of the companion app. That's gonna throw it. You'll see the animation. When it's successful, we're gonna get that success. Again, you heard the ding. Now I can go add this image by, again, going to notifications or to the magic box, but something that's special about the companion app is that as the teacher, when I throw something, it's actually gonna ask if you would like to automatically open it. So I don't actually have to go to the companion app, or excuse me, the magic box or the notifications. I can just open it from here. So if I hit yes, you'll see here it took it and immediately opened it here on the canvas. So now if I'm screen sharing, my paper is now digital and all my students at home can see. So I can use my pen tool to tell students, for this first part, since this is your first time working with theme, I only want you to answer this first section. So everybody's gonna answer this first section about what they think the theme of the story they read was. And then I want you to use throw to send it back to me. Again, this is especially helpful for my students who are virtual. So Blake is my virtual student. He has a worksheet, he's already answered it. So I'm gonna ask him to take a picture and send it to me. So Blake, why don't you walk through that process?
So what I need to do first is launch the camera. So I'm gonna swipe up from the bottom to launch my apps, select the camera app. I'll get an allow. So once my camera launches, I can hold up my sheet and then snap the picture. I then will go back to my Chrome browser to myviewboard.com/sharp, click the plus button and upload again. And now in downloads, I have the new picture that I just took of my work from my worksheet. I select it, click open, and now it's sending to the whiteboard for Mr. Sharp to bring in.
So again, we heard the ding. That means Blake's work has arrived. I can manage that from the bell or the notifications. It's going to show me his work here. I can see it at the top. So it's just a nice little preview. Note that kids can also use the camera if they have phones or mobile devices by going to myviewboard.com/your board name, and that will activate the camera as well. So if you're on a Chromebook, follow the steps that Blake showed us how to do, but if students have access to phones, they can also use the camera feature. So again, we'll go in here, choose Blake's name. That's gonna open the magic box. It's gonna show his work here. I can touch and drag it onto the canvas. That will then insert it over here. And now I have a copy of Blake's work. So even though he's not physically with me in class, he can still use throw to send me the work. So throw is another really great tool to engage kids by holding them accountable, saying, hey, I care about what you're doing at home. You can still send it to me. All you gotta do is take a quick picture and then throw it to me. I can open it so we can all see and review the great stuff that you're doing. As we wrap up, one of the things that we're gonna wanna do is save our whiteboard lesson. The way that we do that is we find the folder icon in the main toolbar. When you touch or click on the folder icon, it's gonna open up the file management menu. Now, if we wanna save, we gotta use the save icon. A floppy disk, hopefully some of you know what a floppy disk is. One with a pencil, one without a pencil. The one with the pencil is for save as or save a new copy. When you touch that, it's going to open up your storage. So local storage as well as cloud storage. You can choose where to save it. For example, if I want to save it in my Google Drive or OneDrive, I can choose my Google Drive and then choose the folder that I want to save this lesson in. Now notice that it saves as a .vboard file. .vboard for ViewBoard. It saves it as a file format that is interactive. So if you want to go back and make changes later, you can and edit it. And the way that you open these is you use the folder with the document inside of it. That's the open button. That allows you to open it and then you can go and again make edits, make changes, or if you teach multiple periods, right, you can reopen that lesson over and over again. But ViewBoard file is not necessarily useful for kids because they may not have myViewBoard installed. We need to get it to a format that is universal for kids so they can have it as notes. And there's a really easy tool to do that. It's called QR Share. So you're going to see that QR code icon there on the far right of the window. When you touch that, it's going to say, do you want to share your board? If you say yes, you're going to see here that it's taking my presentation and it's actually converting it to a PDF, uploading it to my default cloud storage, creating a share link, and then it displays this QR code here, which if I have a QR code scanner, I can scan that, get a copy of this presentation in PDF, or if I don't, I can type in this short URL that you see down here at the bottom, mvb.fyi/mpc7. That is case sensitive, so make sure you remember that. This can also be posted onto your LMS, so if you have a site or a place where your class goes to get their work digitally, you can just post that link and they have access to the PDF. We hope you found this webinar useful and all the information. We know that hybrid teaching is incredibly difficult, but hopefully using Whiteboard will make that a little bit easier for you. Blake, any final thoughts?
We know your time is valuable and we appreciate you sticking around. If you're looking for more resources on how to grow within the Whiteboard software or looking for other products, please check out our website at myviewboard.com.